Night had descended like a heavy cloak, and the wind lashed through the desolate trees surrounding the estate, carrying with it the eerie howls of a winter storm. The cold air seemed to bite at her skin as Anna trudged through the darkened night, her boots sinking into the moist earth with every step. Her path was barely visible, the only light coming from the faint flicker of a lantern that swayed gently in the breeze outside the barn. It was the only beacon guiding her through the blackened wilderness. The air was so cold that Anna's breath vaporized before her eyes, but she barely noticed the chill. There was only one thing that mattered now: getting to the barn. As she approached the weathered wooden doors, a creaking sound echoed from the hinges, like the barn was protesting her arrival. Anna hesitated for a moment, her breath caught in her throat. She had known this barn for years, but tonight something felt different. In the dim glow of the lantern, she saw him, Stellan, the dark stallion, standing motionless in the center of the barn. But something was wrong. He didn't nick her in greeting like he usually did, nor did he step forward to nudge her with his strong muzzle. His gaze was locked on something in the far corner, a deep, unblinking stare that sent an unsettling shiver through Anna's spine. "Stellan," Anna whispered, her voice breaking through the tension in the air. The horse didn't react, his eyes still fixed on the shadows. Her heart began to race as she stepped inside, moving cautiously toward him. Her hand stretched out, fingers trembling as she reached for his mane. His body was taut, every muscle strained like a coiled spring ready to snap. As she drew closer, she could feel the electric tension in the air. Something was wrong, something beyond the barn, beyond even the horse. A faint rustling noise echoed from the shadows, like wind sweeping through an abandoned house. But then it grew louder, the sound unmistakable. Something was moving. Anna took a step back, her breath catching in her throat. "Is someone there?" she called out, her voice barely a whisper, swallowed by the vastness of the barn. There was no response, just the eerie silence. Then, suddenly, a hand shot out from the shadows, gripping the wooden beam of the barn. Anna screamed, stumbling backward, her pulse racing. A figure emerged, their face half hidden in the flickering light of the lantern. It was Evelyn, but something was different. Her usual calm composure was replaced by panic. Her eyes were wide, her lips trembling as though trying to form words, but no sound came. "Evelyn, what are you doing here?" Anna demanded, her voice shaky with a mix of fear and confusion. Evelyn stepped into the light, her right hand clutching something tightly to her chest as if hiding it from Anna's view. Anna's eyes narrowed. Her heart pounded as she tried to make sense of the situation. Before she could speak, the barn door, which had been slightly ajar, slammed shut with a deafening crash. Both women jumped, startled by the sudden noise. The lantern swayed violently on its hook, casting erratic shadows across the barn, twisting and dancing with the rising tension. "Who's there?" Anna called out again, her voice cracking under the weight of the silence. For a long moment, there was nothing but stillness. Then, faintly, Anna heard the crunch of footsteps outside, deliberate and slow, crunching against the gravel as they neared the barn. Evelyn moved in front of Anna, her posture rigid, defensive. "Stay back," she warned, her voice low but filled with authority. It was a tone Anna had never heard from her before. "I'll handle this." Anna shook her head, a surge of panic rising in her chest. "No, Evelyn, I can't just stand here." Evelyn's eyes met hers, sharp and intense. "Listen to me, Anna. If it's who I think it is, you don't want to get involved." Anna blinked, stunned. "Who do you think it is?" "Evelyn, what's going on? Do you know who's out there?" But Evelyn didn't answer. She turned her attention back to the door, her body tense as the footsteps outside paused, the silence stretching thin and tight. They were just beyond the door, but neither woman dared move. Anna's heart raced as she felt the air grow heavier, suffocating. She could almost hear the pulse in her own ears, the tension unbearable. Evelyn's gaze was sharp, but there was something else. Fear? Guilt? Anna couldn't place it. "We need to go outside," Evelyn said quietly, her voice firm. Anna's breath quickened. "I can't." I don't know what's happening here, Evelyn. Just then, a loud whinny broke the silence. The piercing sound echoed through the barn, startling both women. It was Stellan, his frantic cry cutting through the heavy atmosphere. His hooves struck the wooden walls with fury, as though trying to break free. His deep eyes were wide with fear, his body trembling with panic. Evelyn stepped back, her gaze flicking toward the door. "It's too late," she whispered, a new urgency in her voice. Anna didn't hesitate. She bolted for the barn door, throwing it open just in time to see Stellan thrashing violently against the walls. His eyes burned with a fiery determination. Anna's heart raced as she slammed the door shut behind her, gasping for breath, her body shaking from the adrenaline coursing through her veins. But the man was gone, vanished into the night, as if he had never been there. Her mind was spinning. "Evelyn," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Where are you?" But there was no answer, no sign of her. Her gaze swept back to the barn, where Stellan still raged inside, his panic mirrored in the frantic pounding of his hooves against the wooden walls. She could feel it, a danger lurking just out of reach, something deeper than she understood. The wind howled as it swept through the night. Anna's legs wavered as she leaned against the barn door, trying to regain her composure. But all she could think about was Evelyn and the mystery that had unfolded before her. The man, the whispers, the photo in the house. It was all tied together somehow. But how? A noise from the house broke her thoughts. The faintest glimmer of light still leaked from the living room window. Panic surged through her chest as the thought of Lucas crossed her mind. He might still be home. He might know what was happening. She ran through the mud, her boots splashing against the cold earth. Reaching the house, she threw open the door, her voice frantic. "Lucas?" Her footsteps echoed through the empty halls, but there was no answer. The house was eerily quiet. She rushed through the rooms, her heart sinking. Lucas wasn't there, but something wasn't right. The air felt oppressive, suffocating. It was too quiet, too still, as though the house was holding its breath, waiting for something. Her gaze fell to the desk, where a photograph lay face down. With shaking hands, Anna flipped it over. Her chest tightened as she stared at the image. It was Lucas, but standing beside him was Evelyn. Her face was cold and distant, a shadow that Anna had never seen before. A knot of dread tightened in her stomach. She was about to storm out when a sudden noise made her freeze. The front door opened, then closed, and Anna spun around to see Lucas standing in the doorway, his face surprised to see her clutching the photograph. "What are you doing with that photo?" His voice was calm, but there was a weariness to it. Anna's emotions exploded. "Lucas, what is this? You and Evelyn, what is going on?" His gaze faltered for a moment. "I hired Evelyn because I knew she could help you." "Anna," he said quietly, his tone heavy. "You were lost, and I couldn't help you the way you needed." Anna stood there, stunned. "Help me? Why didn't you help me yourself?" Lucas didn't answer, and Anna realized that this was a conversation she couldn't have. Without another word, she turned and stormed out of the house, clutching the photograph as though it were a lifeline. But when she reached the barn, she found the door wide open. Stellan was gone. Her heart pounded as she scanned the darkness, her breath coming in shallow gasps. She followed the trail of hoof prints, the night swallowing her up as she entered the woods. There, in a clearing, she found him, Stellan. But he wasn't alone. A tall, pale figure stood beside him, his back turned toward her. As he turned, his cold eyes locked with hers, and an icy shiver ran down her spine. The man smiled faintly but said nothing. "Who are you?" Anna demanded, her voice trembling with both fear and fury. The man didn't answer. He gently stroked Stellan's mane, as if the horse were his own. "You don't understand, Anna," the man said, his voice deep and unsettling. "Stellan belongs to me. He always has. You're just a fleeting visitor in his life." "No," Anna cried, her voice breaking. "He's mine. He's all I have left." The man's smile deepened, almost pitying. "You're running from something, Anna, and you've forgotten the truth." With that, the man turned, leading Stellan deeper into the forest. Anna was frozen, her legs too weak to move, her heart too full of questions to breathe. As they disappeared into the shadows, Anna collapsed to her knees, the weight of his words crashing over her like a tidal wave. But there was nothing left to do but follow the path laid out before her. The darkness, once an enigma, was now a presence that consumed her every thought. And with it, the truth seemed farther away than ever.